Welcome! Hope you're having a great day. Mushoku Tensei, to no one's surprise, is my favorite isekai, next to ReZero. It has a rich and expansive world that just brings a certain immersive element to it. The world feels alive, with each character having their own goals, motivation, and ambitions that don't necessarily correlate to the main plot or the main character, Rudius. But to the main point, Mushoku Tensei has great writing. This video will be about my personal favorite Mushoku Tensei episode versus the best Mushoku Tensei episode in Season 1. Now, is this just an excuse to talk about Mushoku Tensei? You're damn right it is. Quick preface here, they won't be directly compared, but rather both highlighted for what they did right. Yes, this is a glazing video, so if you don't like that, thanks for watching. Spoilers for Season 1. Alright, we're gonna start strong with the best episode of Season 1, which we should all know, right? Crap. This by all metrics is probably gonna be a top 3 Mushoku Tensei episode by the end of its run. Alright, I'm giving you a second to answer. If your answer was episode 15 of ReZero, then you are wrong. But if you were talking about ReZero, you're probably right. But if your answer was Turning Point 2, then you are correct by all margins. Turning Point 2, by all intents and purposes, was the highlight of Season 1. It not only introduced the Dragon God Orstrad as one of the strongest characters in the series, it also showed him as one of the most ominous and intimidating characters in the show. With about 7 minutes worth of screen time, Orstrad dominated the attention with his presence, making Rudyard, who by that point was very strong, crap his pants. This episode also put the man god into question of how Orstrad reacted to his name. Orstrad also talked something to do with time, and also, Nanahoshi was introduced! I'm going to leave it at that. The fight scenes were well choreographed, and the animation was on point. In fact, it was so good that I had to pause and collect my breath for a second. But what made this episode special was not the mystery of Orstrad, or the man god, or the fighting. The tension in the scene could be felt. The awe-exasperating demise is on the viewer's mind. The episode structure of showing what happens in the beginning leaves the viewer with nowhere to turn. An eluding threat is near and the characters we are watching can't do anything against it. The episode engages the viewer to an extremely heart-pounding experience, but even that is not the highlight. The episode truly shines with how it sets up the next episodes perfectly, with it truly being a turning point for Rudius and Eris. Eris, after a confrontation with Orstrad, realizes that she can't hold a candle to really strong opponents, and she realizes that she's far behind Rudius' strength. That builds a sense of weakness that stems from Turning Point 2, and it leads to her leaving Rudius to get stronger in the next episode. Now, Rudius' change comes in the form of him basically dying by getting impaled by Orstrad. Rudius, like Eris, realizes that he needs to get stronger, but also adds a sort of numbing reality that he could die in this world. Rudius until this point was taking life not too seriously. Not that he's not trying, more so Rudius was not appreciative of the people and things he experienced in this world. Proof of this is seen with how he reacted when he saw Man God after the donut scene. Sure, he felt regret, but not too deeply. The change in mentality can be fully seen later when Rudyard and Eris leave him in episode 23. He finally acknowledges the people he holds important and then proceeds to get up and keep moving forward past his past traumas. All this was only possible thanks to Turning Point 2, which is why it is such an incredible episode. From its fights, mysteries, sense of hopelessness, and its setup. It is as perfect as you could hope to see from Mushoku Tensei. Now, for my personal favorite episode. This was tied between two episodes. Episode 18, Separate Journeys, for episode 17, Reunion. Special mention to episode 23, Wake Up and Take a Step, for having such a pivotal moment for Rudius, getting up and not falling back down like his past self. I already went into some details with my description on Turning Point 2. Big recap though, Rudius learns to keep moving forward for the people he cares about, and it's a big piece of his development. But the winner for my personal favorite episode is... Before that, let me explain why these two episodes are exemplary in their own right. Episode 18, Separate Journeys. It is the reason why I don't hate or dislike Roxy after what she did in Season 2. This episode's the thing that makes me want to just stand up and clap with tears in my eyes. This is the stuff I watch anime for. The episode details are as follows. The episode is through the POV of Roxy. Roxy reunites with her parents, and they manage to reconcile with each other. Roxy, unlike everyone else in her village, was born without telepathy. This in turn made her an outcast, and which later leads Roxy to leave her village. The reconcile scene when Roxy starts breaking out into tears with her parents holding her is just a beautiful and tender scene to watch. And then the parents in the backstory portion doing their best for Roxy by learning to speak because she didn't have telepathy was also a very heartwarming scene that made me shed a tear. This episode is what fully made Roxy such a deep character with a traumatic backstory building on her and making her one of my personal favorite Mushoku Tensei characters. Roxy representation in this made all her stocks go way up. Still, unfortunately, this episode did not win my personal favorite episode, but it is very close to what I call peak reincarnation. You might have been wondering what peak reincarnation was. The peak reincarnation is episode 17, Reunion. I know, can't believe we got 2 episodes in a row about parents and child reconciling with each other. Truly, people learning to put their differences aside is a masterpiece of writing, because I wish I could erase my memory of watching these episodes to experience them again. But alas, I can't. But I can definitely talk about them. Rudius, in the previous episode, had a fight with his father Paul, which leaves both of them very distraught and filled with regret. The episode starts with the backstory of what happened to Paul after turning point 1. And it's such a tragic scene showing how Paul and Norn got teleported to a random place, and Paul realizing that their home was gone. Doing what he could for his daughter and trying to find and help people who were affected by the port incident, and still trying to search for his family that was still missing. The music, the expressions in that scene makes one tear up early in the episode. This truly put into perspective the hell Paul was going through. But Rudius also got more depth with his backstory of how in the past life he was never able to reconcile with a friend who hung out with him. Essentially, he couldn't apologize even though he wanted to. The episode is both of them going to meet each other awkwardly, but then Paul starts doing something past Rudius couldn't do, actually being able to show up. Paul, before this, learned to accept the fact that Rudius did what he could by Geese telling him a bit of what Rudy went through in the Demon Continent. Paul realizes that he was being unfair and maybe a little too harsh on Rudy, and the scene of them putting their differences aside and hugging it out was peak reincarnation. Not only did we get big character development from Paul, but it was this episode that made Paul one of the best characters in Mushoku Tensei. The layer of depth Mushoku Tensei just adds for its characters is why it's a fantastic isekai. The episode showed that Paul might be a decent person, that when it comes to it, he tries his best as a father and a family man. Paul may not have been perfect, but he tries. And I think that's the beauty of this episode. Alrighty, to end things off right, every episode mentioned is a 10 out of 10 for me. I feel like we could dispute certain episodes, but these core episodes that I mentioned should be a 10 out of 10 for any Mushoku Tensei fan. I love Mushoku Tensei, so I would be interested to hear what's your favorite episode from Season 1. Is it the scene where Rudius and Geese are naked together? Is it the episode where Rudius sees Paul cheat on his wife Zenith? Please leave it in the comments. And leave a like if you want a part 2 video for Season 2. And subscribe if you wish to rewatch it for the first time as well. I've been Mini Dragon 21. Have a nice day.